Hello and welcome. For today's adventure, I find myself here in Los Angeles, California, and today we're going to do something very special. Today we are going to have a Godfather Day. What I mean by that is that we are going to explore the Academy of Motion Pictures Museum. They have a special exhibit going on just for the Godfather. So we're going to go in and check out some movie props and some other stuff. We are going to go check out some filming locations from the movie where they filmed that out here. And then later after that, we're going to go to a cemetery and pay our respects to one of the actors that was in the movie. So I'm inviting you to join me as we have a Godfather-filled day. It's going to be fun. I think you'll enjoy it. Let's go. Waiting for the light to change, and that right there is the building that we need to get to. Okay, this is super cool. This is the Godfather portion of the museum here, and I'm super excited to see what's going on in here. So this right here is a few release posters that were out to advertise when the movie was released in 1972. And that right there is a painting of the Paramount logo that you see in all the movies and whatnot. This section here just pretty much talks about how Godfather Part 3 came out and just how much had actually changed and whatnot. And there's some portraits here. Got Al Pacino, Diane Keaton, and then Talia Shire, Gia Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola, and Sofia Coppola as well. This right here is a 1914 Gibson F4 mandolin, once owned by Max Granick. He is responsible for the recordings on The Godfather and Godfather Part 2. So when you hear mandolin, it was this one right here. This is really cool. This is original sheet music on how they created the theme song for the movie. And then down here, they have the wedding night theme right below it. Check out this mural that's right here inside of the Godfather Museum. That is awesome. So right there is a little information on how the making of The Godfather happened. And then to the right, they play clips off and on from pretty much all the films.
He told me.
Right here is Francis Ford Coppola's Godfather notebook. He would write notes and stuff about what he was doing. And there's a copy of the novel. So here is a little bit of history about the author Mario Puzo, about how he brought the book to screen. And from right to left, the manuscript page from Mafia novel annotated by Mario Puzo, a page from second draft of script by Mario Puzo, 1970, handwritten and typed script notes by Francis Ford Coppola, 1970-71, alternative opening page of script, 1971, and the bound third draft of the script, 1971. The second draft right here. Some notes.
I've learned that I have the strength to change.
There would be no way, Michael. No way you could ever forgive.
And here we have some costumes worn by the actors in the films. fedora worn by John Cazale as Fredo, Godfather Part 1. Costume worn by Diane Keaton as Kay Adams, Godfather Part 1. Costume worn by Al Pacino as Michael Corleone from The Godfather Part 2. Costume worn by Morgana King as Mama Corleone, Godfather Part 2. Costume worn by Robert De Niro as Vito Corleone, Godfather Part 2. Costume worn by Robert De Niro as Vito Corleone, Godfather Part 2. Costume worn by Kathleen Beller as Carla, the vaudeville star, Godfather Part 2. Vest worn by Oreste Baldini as young Vito Adelini, the Godfather Part 2. And here's a few photos of the costume designs. This wall here is just a bunch of photos and a little bit of tidbits of information about the executive producers on and off set. It's a famous wedding scene. Oh, that's cool. Now shooting. This is really cool here. This is a couple pieces of research images annotated by Francis Ford Coppola, 1970 to 71. Casting notes by Francis Ford Coppola, 1970 to 71. And then storyboards, 1973. All original. So we all remember the famous Corleone Office, right? So I'm not gonna lie, this is probably, in my personal opinion, the coolest piece inside of this museum. Not saying that not everything else is cool, because everything in here is straight up amazing, but we have the original desk and chair from the Corleone office, and they actually recreated the set of the family office too. So not only is the desk and chair all original, but ladies and gentlemen, they recreated the Corleone office here. This is one of the coolest things that I've ever seen in my life. The Godfather is arguably one of the greatest movies of all time. And, you know, just the scenes filmed inside of the office, just amazing. So the original desk right there, and the original chair. I'm like getting goosebumps just looking at this, because I'm like imagining Marlon Brando standing there and just replaying the scene over in my head. This is so cool. And here's something really cool. The hair and makeup section. So it says Dick Smith was a master of character makeup, aging techniques, and practical effects. Achieving Marlon Brando's vision for Don Corleone was a key challenge for the first film. The life casts were used to create prosthetics. When Brando refused to wear them, Smith used a stippled aging effect on the 47-year-old actor. Smith also devised a dental appliance to perfect the Don's bulldog jawline, replacing the tissues Brando had been stuffing in his cheeks. So Marlon Brando had been stuffing his cheeks to get that famous look that he had. He says, a prolific sculptor, Smith created a palm-sized bust of people during downtime on set. Meanwhile, hairstylist Phil Leto emulated the cuts and styles of each time period. Smith returned for part 2, but resigned from part 3 over the decision to have a short haircut for Pacino as an aged Michael Corleone. So check these out. That right there in the center is the mouthpiece that Marlon Brando wore to get that famous look. There's the busts that they mentioned and that little information. And this is really cool too. Down here shows photos of how they created Don Vito Corleone. Some old photos. And this right here is the actual makeup kit that they used to create it with. Oh, I'm just so stoked to see the mouthpiece that Marlon Brando wore. I know it might not mean a lot to a lot of people, but to me this is like seriously so cool. So I wanted to mention really quick that right there is the life mask of Marlon Brando, the mouthpiece for Marlon Brando, and a life mask of Al Pacino. And here we have some production designs. We have a blueprint for the Corleone Office set, 1971, from the original Godfather. We have a blueprint for neon signs and Cuba scenes, 1973, Godfather Part 2. And the concept art for the Lake Tahoe Boathouse, 1973, Godfather Part 2. Dang, that's crazy. The neon signs, blueprints. Wow, that's intense. This is pretty cool. This is set decoration and art direction. We have a Genco oil can from The Godfather and Godfather Part 2. We have Bruno Titalia's Art Deco lighter from The Godfather Part 1, a newspaper from Godfather, and gold telephones from The Godfather Part 2. All right, viewer discretion is advised with this one. This is a prop horse head used in rehearsal from The Godfather Part 1. This taxidermied horse head was used during rehearsals for the shocking scenes when studio executive Jack Waltz discovers the murder of his beloved Khartoum. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Though no horses were killed for the movie, a real horse head from a local slaughterhouse was used during actual filming. This unsettling relic prop reflects common practices in Hollywood prior to special effects innovations. So right here Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. A horse head. So during the scene when Jack Woltz discovers his bed is all bloody, you see his reaction as he uncovers the head. That is his actual reaction. They switched out the horse heads for a real horse head from a local slaughterhouse. So when you see him screaming and freaking out, that is a real horse head. That is his actual legitimate reaction to it. That is crazy. So you guys remember this scene right here at Louis' Italian restaurant? A famous scene. Check this out. Although I would love to say that this is an all original sign, it is not. After reading the information boards here, it is in fact a recreated sign. But still cool though to see what it would have looked like in the movie. So here we have a 5 Super Balter lenses used by Gordon Willis in The Godfather and Godfather Part 2. So these are the lenses that they would have used to shoot the movie with. How cool is that? Here we have a Mitchell BNCR camera, Worrell geared head, Elemac spider dolly, all used in the production of the movie. This is a upright Moviola editor. This upright Moviola was used for reviewing and editing short clips from The Godfather and Part 2. This device was invented as a projector in 1917 by Ewan Surrier, who re-engineered it in the 1920s for editing. So this was used for the movie. Here this talks a little bit about editing the storylines, and it just pretty much says that matching and framing needed to be consistent and continuous while using the Moviola editing machine. So these are what they would have looked like. So here I am outside of Paramount Studios, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the scene from Godfather Part 1 where Tom Hagen goes to meet with Jack Woltz right here at Waltz International Pictures. That guard shack right there is the one that Tom Hagen goes through in the taxi cab, and a little bit has changed, not much. There used to be a Waltz International Pictures sign just above the guard shack right there. And I do believe that they actually had filmed on set inside of the studios here. So it's a pretty busy road, so this is about as close as I can get to the shot. But this is the exact location from the front of the guard shack here. So pretty cool. And there's a giant whale mural right there on the side. And this is Leonard Nimoy Way, if anyone is curious. So I figured I would show that really quick, where Tom Hagen goes to meet with Jack Woltz to make him an offer he cannot refuse. So let me ask you, do you remember the mansion that Jack Woltz owned? You know, the same mansion where they did the horsehead scenes? Well, fun fact, that location is actually in Beverly Hills. And I found the address and I went to go to the location, and unfortunately it is in a gated community and I could not get to it. But looking from online, some of the pictures, the house actually does look the same on the outside. But still cool though, but unfortunately I wasn't able to hit that location. Alright, so here I am at the Eden Memorial Park in Mission Hills, California. And I've come here today to pay my respects to the one and only Sonny Corleone, Mr. James Caan. I'm trying to figure out where his final resting place is. I think I have somewhat of an idea, but I'm just kind of exploring the cemetery here until we find his final resting place. Let's see if we can find it. It's early morning out here at the cemetery, and I just wanted to capture this incredible view overlooking the cities out there. Right here at the top of the hill, we got the sprinklers going this morning. It's a beautiful morning. You can probably hear the birds chirping. I seen this on the side of the wall, the mausoleum here. It says, "May thy righteousness go before thee, and the glory of the Lord receive thee." Isaiah 58:8. Wow. I was doing a little bit of research about this cemetery, and I didn't know this, but this cemetery is a Jewish cemetery, and James Caan was actually born in a Jewish family. Closer towards the road here, just to the right of the front of the mausoleum, just up these steps and to the right, through the little gate and to the left, is the final resting place of Mr. James Caan and his family. You can't really miss it. It's in a little plot just for them. And there we have it. James Caan, 1940, 2022. Always in our hearts. And to the bottom of that, it says, "the greatest of all time." Here is some of the family members. Arthur Caan, beloved husband, father, and grandfather, 1909 to 1986. Sophie Caan, forever in our hearts, beloved wife, mother, grandmother, and friend, 1915, 2016. We will miss you so much, you will never be forgotten. And to the right, Mr. James Caan, always in our hearts, 1940, 2022. The greatest of all time. And to the right of him, Barbara Caan Licker, forever in our hearts. Loving wife, mother, daughter, sister, 1943 to 1981. James Caan was born March 26, 1940 in the Bronx of New York City, to Sophie and Arthur Caan, Jewish immigrants from Rhineland, Germany. His father was a kosher meat dealer. He was one of 3 siblings. Caan grew up in Sunnyside, Queens. His sister, Barbara Emily Caan Licker, died of leukemia in 1981. He later attended Michigan State University. He was a member of the Alpha Epsilon Pi fraternity for his 2 years at MSU. He was unable to make the football team. He then later transferred to Hofstra University in Hampstead, New York, but he did not graduate. His classmates included Francis Ford Coppola and Lainie Kazana. While studying in Hofstra, James Caan became interested in acting. He enrolled in the New York City Neighborhood Playhouse School of the Theater, and the rest is history. On July 6, 2022, James Caan passed away at Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles at the age of 82 from a heart attack caused by coronary artery disease. At the time of his death, he also had chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and congestive heart failure. He came to prominence playing Sonny Corleone in The Godfather, 1972, a performance that earned him Academy Awards and Golden Globes nominations for Best Supporting Actor. He reprised his role in The Godfather Part 2, 1974. He received a Motion Picture Star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1978. So there's no doubt that James Caan had a very impressive background when it came to acting. You know, he's most notably known, in my personal opinion, I think, for The Godfather. But he had such an incredible background that he has roles in tons of other movies. He acted for quite some time. And, if you know him from any other movies, feel free to drop a comment below and let me know, because I'm all about, sharing. So maybe there's a movie of his that I haven't seen aside from The Godfather. So do some research. If you haven't seen any of his movies aside from The Godfather, go check out some of his other movies. I think you'll be pretty impressed. But as far as The Godfather, he had such iconic scenes. He was such an important character in the movie. He had the scene where he beats up Carlo, pretty iconic scene. And then he had the scene where, unfortunately, he met his demise at the toll booth. How Vito Corleone was like, look how they massacred my boy. This guy here. It's crazy when you think about it. Just like being here and seeing this is kind of, it's interesting in a way, because this guy was such an important person in the Godfather movie, and it's crazy. All right, everybody, I think that's gonna be a wrap on Godfather Day here in Los Angeles. It's been fun. It's definitely been fun. But it was cool seeing, the original props and getting to learn more about behind the scenes and stuff of the movie at the Academy Museum, and then seeing where they filmed parts of the movie at, and then paying our respects to Mr. James Caan here. So I figured I would just do something a little bit different to pay a little homage to one of the greatest movies of all time. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for following me around today. I greatly appreciate it. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe if you already haven't. It helps me out, plus it lets you know every time I upload a new video. That being said, guys, thank you so much for watching today. Be safe, be kind, and God bless.